This is Kal Kat, the Kal Kat's turn. For some reason, I waited like 7 hours to do the review of Godzilla X Kong. um, yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna do a review of it. I mean, it was enjoyable enough to go to the theater and watch it, and be. I think it just came out didn't it? I think it just came out, and there were 3 people in the theater. I was one of them, and yeah. Um, uh, well, odd music choices in places. Strange, like the dentistry scene has this odd song in it. The opening scene has an odd song in it. There's another scene where they go down in the hole, or there's an odd song in it. Weird music choices. The MonsterVerse stories of this genre started out a little slow and confusing with that one where they were attacking San Francisco and you could barely see it, and then there was the other one where they showed Godzilla a little more, and they had the Rio de Janeiro one and the other one, and then the Mecha Godzilla one, which was Godzilla versus Kong, I guess. Yeah, the last one, and this is Godzilla X Kong. They probably should have called it Godzilla and Kong. That would have made more sense, because the title doesn't really say like why is it plus Kong? Because an X usually implies that they're married or something. Yeah, like Joe plus Mary or something. Yeah. There's They imply that the black podcaster guy is gay and he wants to go out with the dentist guy who's an Aussie, who was doing the Australian amusing Australian character. They changed a tooth at one point. On the Kong, we put on another tooth, a polymer tooth thing, which doesn't. Yeah. And then they give him an arm later on when he gets frostbite from a frost cryotech alien guy. Some of them are Godzilla monsters. Mothra's in it. Has a key role in it. Like Godzilla's in it. The little girl represents the princesses from the Mothra story, and also a little bit of Gamera thrown in there. But they don't show Gamera. They show other monsters from that verse, and they move them around different places. They have a hollow Earth in this version, just to be weird. There are weird pockets underneath the mantle of the Earth, but they're not. There's no hollow Earth. That's made up. Yeah, the gravity down there would kill anything alive down there, so there wouldn't be anything there, and there wouldn't be any sunlight, and there wouldn't be any photosynthesis. Where are they getting the light from? Blowing radiation crystals or something? Yeah. So even if they were just down in the crust a little bit, it still doesn't make sense. But then again, they use a wormhole to get there, so maybe it's another planet or dimension or something. Yeah. And Millie Bobby Brown is not in this one. Someone else is sort of playing a character like her. Millie Bobby Brown's not in this one. Cousin's not in this one. So, yeah. So we have. Yeah. There were issues with what was going on, pacing the plot, the story. There were characters popping in and out of different places that couldn't have gotten there, or there was choppy editing when they're in the Hollow Earth thing, reminiscent of Iron Sky 2, which had a Hollow Earth as well, a couple of years ago, like 5 years ago. But yes, yeah. So yeah, they have to. What basically the plot is that Kong has to be recruited to fight a new evil that's popped up somewhere, and Godzilla is worried about this distress call from, somehow they know this. I don't know. the girl with the powers that New Kong, last of her tribe, knows something psychically about them. Yeah. They have to go down to the Hollow Earth with the girl to find the last of her tribe that happened to be living down there. Since the last ice age, apparently. It has the Prometheus problem as well. In the Alien prequel movie, Prometheus, they find cave paintings that indicate, and they're able to translate them somehow, that indicate events will happen in the future that the characters just happen to be in the script that's going to happen later. And you have to go to a certain planet or a certain place to find those events to happen. Plot convenience, basically. Some MacGuffin. And that happens here too, in that the expedition dump about when they find a temple down in the Hollow Earth. The lady and the Aussie guy and the black guy find a temple, and they're able to read the alien script, or not aliens. They're sort of ancient alien / people tribe that's been living down there. Doesn't matter that the gravity down there underneath the core. If they had such a place, even if they have allegedly anti-gravity, do they control the place then? Are they like... They never made that, like, okay, so if they tried to retcon the gravity in there and say, like, oh yeah, they have these crystal things that control the gravity, so they kind of created the Hollow Earth thing, like during the Ice Age or something, to hide partly to encase the cryotech thing that's freezing things. And of course, the cryotech thing gets out and starts to freeze Rio. But remarkably similar to Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, actually. Which Mr. Story from the Star Trek story saw. And Frozen Empire, very similar ending. He liked it. But yeah, there was a discussion with him about the stuff. So yeah, we have this story, exposition dump about it's in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler, but I'm spoiling it a little bit. Where she just reads, like as if reading the script, and is able to do this. The mother, not the psychic alien girl, half alien girl or whatever, but the mother, and she's able to translate the script for the audience as if an aside to say, well, there's this evil king ape like Kong, but skinnier. Kong kind of fat. And this king ape is subjugating his people, and he's holding the cryotech dragon guy. I know I'm getting that name wrong. I know he's from the Monsterverse. He's a freezing Godzilla, basically. He's a freezing one. And freezing dragon. And he makes things cold. So if he allegedly can get out, he'll start an ice age. And they're doing this excavation dump, like the coincidences required for them to achieve what they're achieving are to jump through hoops to make the story kind of make sense. Don't work. But then again, it is a monster movie with giant monsters fighting, and you want to see the giant monsters fight, and that's fine. The fights and the battles are pretty good. They're not great, they're pretty good. I would say that the Shin Godzilla and Godzilla -1 have better fight scenes than this one. They just look better. They look more practical than CG. You can tell there's CG in this one. Apparently the cryotech thing tries to freeze the monkey guy, Kong, and then he gets... then they give him a robotic arm that they just happen to have because of plot convenience. Oh, we happen to have a robotic right arm armature for him. We'll just give him one. We'll go into the base and get it. We won't explain how we carried it to the base, from the base. We'll just have him run back to the base and get it on foot. Like they're in a weird gravity place down inside the Earth, which is ridiculous, but sure, fantasy, why not? And they've crossed an entire vast distance to get where they are at that point to get to the village and the temple and all that. And they're hiding around, and they switch scenes, and they send him back to get the thing, and then turn and run back. Ah, great kitty. Brian's story's great kitty. Okay. That's what the little patch. Anyway, so we have great kitty. So yeah, we have yeah, he runs back to get this device after saying, "Oh, this will help cure the frostbite, and we'll inject him with something, and it'll be all fine, and his hand will be repaired," because that's how that works. Like putting a giant ape's arm inside an armature, like a cast, somehow cures frostbite if you inject it with something. That wouldn't do that. No, frostbite fucks you up. So yeah, that is not how to. No, you can't just put an armature on them and their arm's fine now. That makes no sense. That's not medically possible. They're better off using the crystal powers from the alien people. Have them cure him. That would have made more sense. Go to the priestess lady and say, "Can you use your crystal energy thing to like heal a frostbite?" And have him go zzz, because then it would be magic. Then it would make sense. When they go up to the surface, he's going to fight the cryotech thing. Him and Godzilla are going to team up and fight them, and the bad guy Ape King. And the exposition dump kind of doesn't make sense. It very much doesn't make sense. Because for one thing, like the Prometheus story, they find this written on a wall thousands of years ago. Whoever built the temple put it on the wall thousands of years ago and said, okay, there's going to be this king guy in their time period where he's going to subjugate his people, King Ape guy. Another Kong, but a different Kong. And he's still going to be around thousands of years later, maybe tens of thousands of years later. They said that place was built in the time of the Ice Age, which would be 20,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, a little over 10,000 years ago. Okay, so that king is still alive after thousands of years. It's the same guy. Or are they saying this is going to happen in the future in 10,000 years, and don't let the king guy with the king ape with the cryo guy, don't let those two out? Are they that ancient? Are they literally thousands of years old? Tens of thousands of years old? And if so, how? And what is their metabolism rate? And there's a baby Kong in it that gets, yeah, it's like Donkey Kong at times. They literally Donkey Kong. But they go. Yeah, I think there was actually like a young one too, so that's canon. But yeah, they tried that. But there was also a Baby Godzilla cartoon back in the day when I was a kid. The Godzilla and Godzuki. Yes. Baby Godzilla. Yes, there was. He's been an adult and a baby before, but not an adult baby. That would be interesting. Giant diaper on Godzilla. So, yes, I need to dress like an infant. But yes, yeah, there was a lot of, their motivation and what they do to solve certain things, like the arm thing and the other thing, are weird. It's just weird. They use the sign language and then they dub that, but then when Kong goes to find the king guy who inadvertently releases the Freezy guy and gets his arm zapped, who shouldn't be alive anymore. It's thousands of years later, tens of thousands of years later. But he's there. He's alive. But yeah, it's like. But then there's the other stuff. There's Becca Godzilla, out of left field. Oh, the black guy is gay for the other guy, but it's not even pandering because it's just like it comes out of left field because they clearly have no chemistry. And at one point he goes like, Like, I could kiss you on the mouth to the white guy. And he's like, what? Where'd that come from? He doesn't say yes or no there, but it was forced. It was like they were trying to write that so that character was, but they didn't do it right. They didn't set that up. So the dentist guy, the hyperactive tracker guy, is just like into his bi, I guess. I don't know. And the other guy is not. He's like really into him. Okay, but they don't show it. They don't earn that scene. It's just there. It's just there to say, look, see, he could be a gay guy. It doesn't work because they didn't earn it. Kind of like the Ghostbusters with the girl, the ghost, as well. They didn't earn it. And then that review of that one, I was like, oh well, they didn't. They really didn't go there. If the right wingers were, in that case, the right wingers were upset about the girl and the ghost and lesbian, and they were. I didn't read it that way. I read it that way more like, oh, she was just a friend. She wasn't like they weren't going to have sex. They're just friends. and she betrays her. So in the movie, in this case, they're not even friends. So yeah, not even that. So it was just like, I'm just gonna throw like lines that I'm in love with that guy out of left field, and not make it make any sense. Yeah, a lot of them figuring out things, and also the part where the girl finds the tribe people and everything, and they're kind of implying that the girl's gonna stay there. Of course she isn't. Of course she's going to turn around and say no. Of course it's going to end about family and stuff. Of course. Granted, the dialogue between the people was a little better because they were just going down than the last one and the one before. Just because they were going... The one before had the one before with Millie Bobby Brown somehow getting across the world to go and find her father was a little screwy. But yeah, that was screwy too. That kind of didn't make sense. But in this one, yeah, we have other things that don't make sense, like exposition dumps, and yeah, now the battle scenes were okay. I mean, you could have had. They were very video game like. This was the regular image because I've seen those XD ones of the other two movies, and it was like. They have that Screen X thing. It's not very good. Screen X is kind of stupid and distracting. They don't do it right. If you're going to do an immersion screen, you can't be able to see the edges of the walls. It should be like an immersion. Not doing it right. Anyway, so but this one was XD, and yeah, so. So they did the scene where the Kongs or the different apes are talking, and they don't do any credits for that part. So you have no idea what's happening when he's smacking around the kid one, or he smacks around the lady one or something, or falls in a hole or something. You're like, okay, what is he? Or he's talking to the king guy who tries to take stuff. It's all nonverbal, hard to follow. Yeah, they could have done something in there. The king guy. How the hell is he still alive? And how would they even know? Like years later, we're gonna carve into this temple, 10,000 years ago, a warning saying, okay, this king guy, who somehow is gonna live to be thousands of years old, because we know the Titan's gonna live that long, because they can't. Or they regenerate, or whatever. But this guy's in the future. He's gonna do this, and this is how to stop him. That also begs the question: if they hadn't gone down there and read about that, and it just stayed on the surface, they would have no idea what was going on. Yeah, and the ancient aliens were sending the distress call, and that kind of didn't make sense either. Like crystals, yeah. Stuff. Oh, my kingdom's crystal skull. Not really. Because we could ignore the gravity thing and the sun thing, and I guess you could ignore the gravity turning off or on thing and doing the Avatar thing in there. Because the Avatar ripped that off from an album cover too. Floating rocks and stuff. But yes, Avatar, the James Cameron Avatar. So yeah, this is kind of like watching that. Except not as annoying. Avatar 2 was annoying. The father guy was annoying the entire time. It's like, somebody just get rid of that guy. Just silly. So yeah, and this one, Kong was kind of annoying. Godzilla apparently has found a nest in the Roman amphitheater. He's kind of small, isn't he? He's filling up the amphitheater. He's a small Godzilla. He's not as big as the other ones. They do the Mothra thing, kind of. Yeah. Yeah, they do Mothra in there, but they kind of get it a little wrong. The original one was more going into the Earth thing. What they probably should have done was solidify what the Titans are doing by actually having some sort of translation as to what they were doing. Then that would made a little more sense. Like, they don't have to have them talking in English, but some sort of subtitles. Okay, this is what Kong is doing. He's talking to the king guy who wants to subjugating his people. Okay, show that. Have some commentary. But might as well you exposition dump the scene that would only be there if you were there. Like, so when a bear farts in the woods, no one's there. Did it happen? Or when ancient peoples from space or something carve on rocks thousands of years ago. Maybe that'll happen with the king later on. The Kongs are the guardians of the earth, which goes against the other King Kong movies. But does that make Godzilla then? What is he supposed to be? The Titans. Well, originally Godzilla was a nuclear test creature that had been reawakened by nuclear testing in Japan. But nuclear bombs, and then nuclear attack on Japan in the World War II. Originally, that's what he was supposed to be. So he was a nuclear monster. He'd been originally Godzilla as gorilla whale. He was really a gorilla whale, but then they changed it to a sort of dinosaur, T-Rex looking thing. Godzilla man. Yes. But yeah. But yeah, the Mothra thing, the other thing. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how the Frisian one works, because he's able to freeze the sky or something to start out with. When he gets under the surface, he freezes the sky and the town, and you just know there's a body count of the millions whenever they fight. That's kind of the problem with it, is they couldn't show the fighting of the millions, whereas in something like Godzilla -1, it looks like they actually get hurt. The people they'll tear through a building or something, and they're showing bodies going like dummies and stuff falling off the building. They didn't really do that so much in this one. It's like no, if a giant Titanic thing the size of skyscrapers smashes into an office building, a lot of people just die, and there would be gore everywhere. Exactly. Or if you stepped through the street, there'd be people he couldn't get out of the way, and he would go stomp, crunch, and he'd be dead. So yeah. And also the nuclear breath thing would go off, and people would get radiation poisoning. But yeah, didn't see previews. Got there just after it started, so didn't see preview. Just as well, because but yeah, there needed to be. Yeah, it had issues. Yeah, I mean, it was okay. It's fine for a monster movie. The fight scenes are better than the other two, but there's still something off about it. There's just something off. Anyway, so that was Godzilla. Yeah, 2.5, 3 stars. 3 stars for having okay fight scenes. But yeah, if you went in there for it to make sense, no. Oh well. Anyway, so